Big friggin' Mike, there's a problem in Colorado where we've got this Democratic governor, Jared Polis, planning, it seems, to veto this bill, Senate Bill 5, which it sounds like would effectively make Colorado like a right to work state.
Currently, Colorado has a bill on, or a law on the books from almost 80 years ago. It was 1942, the Labor Peace Act, which requires, and we're the only state that has this, it's a second election. So we have the first election under federal law, 50% plus one, you get a union. In Colorado, to have to basically force all the members of the union to pay their dues, you have to have a second election and you have to reach 75%. And that effectively makes us a right to work state. And yeah, I mean, when you look at the numbers, I mean, we're more in line with, the southern states and the right to work states than we are with our other blue states as far as union membership goes.
I was looking into the bill bit. It seems that the Division of Labor Standards and Statistics has to certify and administer the second round of elections, and not doing this would save the state a lot of money. Um, and so it's interesting to see, the Democratic governor voting against this when it seems like a win for workers and it would save the state money.
Yes, so I'm less concerned about that aspect. I'm a union member myself, LIUNA Local 720 here in Denver, um, and I actually was a victim of the current law. At my previous job, I tried to form a union, but basically the unions don't want free riders. So if you don't have that 75% when you get your initial union card signed, they won't even go to the first election. So it functions as a right to work because the unions aren't going to back you if you don't have 75%. And it just makes it much harder to even get a union formed in the first place.
And this is especially hard in a lot of these big corporations where there's such a high turnover. I hear about people trying to unionize Amazon facilities, and they have such high turnover that they could have a majority of cards signed, and if they put them all through, they could still lose the election because either people are fired or they decide to leave Amazon. So, in this increasingly corporate world, something like this almost kills unions to make the second vote mandatory.
It does. And Polis is no stranger to being against labor. The governor, Jared Polis, and for some reason, he's a Democratic rising star, which says a lot about the Democratic Party, in my opinion. I personally am trying to get involved and try to move this party to the left and more pro labor. Polis, unfortunately, is a remnant of a past time. He's one of the original tech bros. He got rich off of an app or something he created in college. It wasn't an app at that time, probably, but and that dude's never been on a construction site in his life. So, or at least working on one. So I don't think he understands the struggles that we're dealing with. I mean, we're the I think fifth most expensive city in the United States, and it's hard out here. And the guys on the job site need all the support they can get in order to fight for their rights and for better pay and for better safety standards.
And unions, there are federal studies that show workers that are in them have 18% on average higher pay than other workers. So it is true that if you're having workers have all of the benefits of the union but not paying union dues, it is kind of like freeloading on a union. What
Yeah.
does it mean to you that someone like Senator Bernie Sanders, who caucuses with the Democrats, who ran as a Democrat, if he were to, make a statement about this and put pressure on Jared Polis, the Democratic governor, who's seemingly going to veto this bill?
I think it would be huge, especially right now. I mean, we've seen that workers believe that the Democratic Party has abandoned them. And Jared Polis is example number one. I think it would be huge for Senator Sanders or AOC or any of the pro labor members of Congress to kind of make a stink about this and be like, bro, we're trying to make an image here. What are you doing?
Yeah, you've been asking people on social media to call Governor Polis's office at 303-866-2885. What are you hoping people will say?
I'm hoping they will ask him to not veto the bill. Obviously, it's got huge support in the legislature. I think it passed on party lines, and Colorado is pretty blue right now. So passed with flying colors. I think the final vote is tomorrow. But Jared Polis, the multi-hundred millionaire that he is, has already threatened to veto it because the business community doesn't like it. And we know why the business community doesn't like it because they don't want to pay their workers more.
The last thing I'll ask you is kind of about our political times. I noticed people were commenting on your TikTok videos about this. Someone said, you know, about something to the effect of you guys keep blaming Democrats for things going bad for workers. But at the end of the day, this is a Democratic governor promising to veto a pro-worker bill that would protect workers' rights to organize and form a union. Can you say a little bit about how weird this political climate is? Where people who are Democrats are mad at you for criticizing Democrats for not showing up for workers.
And Democrats are notoriously defensive when criticized, and I think it's a problem, and I think it's led us to where we are today. I think when it comes to the heads of the parties, they'd rather have the big major donors and the PACs and the corporate money than the little guy. And I think the American people have picked up on that. And I think there's a certain number of Democrats, obviously, some of the ones we've mentioned, who are working to change that. But overall, I mean, that's the image that the workers have on the Democratic Party. I mean, when I talk to the guys on the job site, I mean, they might be pro-union, but they might not be pro-Democrat.
Yeah.
So we have to get involved and force this party to change if we ever want it to survive.